Welcome back to the 42284 podcast from beautiful downtown Sunfish, Kentucky. Coming to you from the She Shed. We've got Ralph here tonight with us. He is a Gulf War, Desert Storm veteran.
All right, now I'm gonna get to the chase a little bit on my part. I'm gonna go back, way back when I was a kid.
All right.
Okay.
Are you the oldest out of your?
No, Lou is.
Lou's the oldest.
Lou's the oldest. I'm second.
You ain't supposed to say
Steve's
that, Lou.
third. Lisa's third.
You'll
Okay.
get us
She listens
shot
to
up
this,
here.
you
She
know.
listens to this.
Now back, like I said, when I was a kid, Lisa was always wanting to play with us. We didn't want girls playing with us, so it was me, Steve, Mike, your Uncle Mike, and Kevin Hayes. We all played together all the time. Lisa kept trying to want to play with us. We're like, no, you ain't in the He-Man's Boy Club, no. You got to pass the test to get in. We tried to scare her off. That's what we were trying to do. And we said, you got to pass the test. She said, what's the test? And we told her, well, what it was we lived there in the old Johnny Cap house there. The old White House used to be there.
Which was across from the JT Duval
Yeah,
Mercantile
I remember
Company.
Johnny
But-
Cap House.
Yeah, you own the property now.
That
Your
little
mom
hill
does.
there, that little hill there, we told her, said, get in this barrel and we're going to roll you off over the hill.
Well, this explains a lot.
We didn't figure she'd do it. She said, okay. She gets in there and says, kick it out. We're like, she's going to do this. She ain't going to want to join us. We kicked it off, rolled up, and she rolled all the way to the creek down there. And the only thing kept her from going in the creek was a tree there. The way she hit that tree.
How old was she?
She wasn't like 5 or 6, I think. She come jumping out of that barrel. I'm in the He-Man Boy Club. We were like, oh my God.
She'd been walking way
Well,
over a year.
2 weeks. Now, 2 weeks later. But 2 weeks later, me, her, and Stanley Logston and Steve was all back there swimming in the swimming hole back there. The one in between Devil's Pocket and the other place. And she jumped up and said, I got a snake bit me. We thought a snake did because we'd seen snakes back in the creek a little bit. We thought she got bit. So we all took turns carrying her, running her back to the house. Get to the yard up there, and she's dumped down. I got you back. And we're like, oh, God, we want to.
Got a free ride back to the house.
Boy, can you imagine what the repercussions would have been if you'd have talked Lou to getting in a barrel and kicking her off over the hill? Ooh, boy. Hey, I'm 44 years old and I'm still scared of Lou to make her mad.
Hey, leave Lou alone. She makes good beans
Now,
and
I'll tell
cornbread.
you also,
Really?
Oh, you
Well,
ain't
she
just a
ain't,
kid.
Lou, if you're listening, I ain't never had any of your beans and cornbread.
Now,
Oh, they're the best.
Really?
Oh, my
well,
gosh.
that's a bunch of crap right there now.
I can't
now,
help
this
it.
one I'm going to tell on Brother Steve.
All right.
Steve wasn't about 5, 6 around there. At least he had, and what it was, back then we were creating our own entertainment. So we decided, it was all John A's kids and all of us decided we were going to do a Catholic wedding. Well, we didn't have, none of the girls wanted to be the bride or nothing, so Steve got voted to be the bride. We dressed him up in Lisa's.
Who was the groom?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, okay.
We had Steve, now picture Steve dressed up in a little green dress with a white blouse on. He was blonde. He was blonde-headed. He was blonde-haired at the time. And we married him to Tim Durbin.
Steve's my uncle and my stepmom.
Ralph, you better be glad he can't hear.
Oh, he'll hear it, I'm sure. He probably don't remember it, but I do. And I'll
time
tell
I
you, it
see-
is the truth.
Next time I say, hey, Mama, Uncle Steve.
I tell you what, Steve's one of the most fun people I've ever around in my life. He's fun, ain't he?
Did I tell you about the time they took him, what do they call it, spike hunting?
Snipe.
Snipe
hunting,
hunting,
yeah.
It was Rex Davis and them, Donnie Davis and them, all bunch took him snipe hunting. Now, his bedroom was down there in the basement. Mom had a bunch of friends up there in the house up above. I was down there.
Is this the house she lived in when she passed away?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was laying there on bed. I'm listening to music or something. I forgot what I was doing. All of a sudden, a knock on the door. And I looked over in there. Steve standing in the door, knocking on the door. What the hell? Thought you was out with, Dalton and all that. Opened up the door and he's stark naked. They got him out there in the middle of the cornfield, stripped him stark naked, and shut the flashlights off, run off and left him.
I don't remember that being a part of Snipe.
Yeah,
It was out behind St. John's Church out there in Jake's cornfield. I think they were doing it.
It may have mellowed down by the time I got along.
But they got him down, stripped him stark naked, and he had to sneak back in the house.
Well, wasn't it you and Dad that talked him into putting the skunk in the Sunfish School's mailbox?
No, what it was, old Chet Woods was the mail carrier at the time, and he was always mean and grumpy to us and everything, and act like he didn't like us and everything, So we decided we was going to teach him a lesson one day. It was me, Steve, Mike, and I forgot who else had found this dead skunk in the road. So we got the bright idea to get old Chet back. We took that skunk up there and put it in the schoolhouse mailbox and raised the flag. And we went over there and hid underneath the trailers because it was on the weekend and waited for him. Sure enough, there comes the car, mail cart, pulls up, reaches the mailbox, gets out, drives off. All of a sudden, them brakes slam on. And I don't know how many years it was, 20 years or whatever. An old guy we call Gip was the one.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember Gip. Yeah.
Me and Gip was standing there talking in the Sunfish Mall there one day, and I told him that story, and he got to laughing. He said, "Well, I hate to bust your bubble here, son, but you didn't get Gip, you got me."
You got me.
He said, "But I'll tell you what. After that day, I learned to look in that mailbox for a friend." He said, "Y'all broke me reaching in there and not looking, just grabbing." He said, "That broke me right there. That just stunk up my whole car the whole day."
I remember Gip, he'd come into the store and bring mail when I was a kid, but he'd smoke in Virginia Slims, them great big old long cigarettes.
Yeah.
He'd smoke in. Boy, that old car you get in it, help him get the mail, it just reeks bad. You couldn't understand to get in it. But,
Yeah.
I saw him. It's 15, 20 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, he was an old man in the 80s, I thought.
Yeah. I thought he was
He
old
was.
when he carried the mail.
I ran into him somewhere, and I'm sure he's passed away by now.
Yeah.
But
You know Jimmy Gibson, Steve?
no,
Jimmy Houchins Gibson?
no, I can't.
Was the CEO of Houchins for however many years?
Okay,
Jimmy Gibson?
I don't know who that is, but
That was his dad.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, Steve pours concrete, lives over at Claybit. Shannon Gibson, probably when you was in school.
Oh, I remember her. She was a year older than I was.
That would have been
I
her
think.
papa.
Okay.
No, Shannon's younger than you. She'd probably be about
I'm
your age,
thinking the
I'd
wrong
say.
person there.
Yeah.
Huh.
But that's who that was. I've got a pretty good mailbox story that I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what I
Well,
was...
somebody told you it's true.
This is what I was told.
Yeah. It's true that you were told.
This has been, I guess, 25 or 30 years ago. There was a guy that lived down on 185, and I won't go into all the details of what I heard, but some of the younger kids in the community, kind of like you was talking about Mr. Wood, they kind of got crossed up with him, disagreed with him, and come through there, knock his mailbox down. Well, he'd put one up, knock his mailbox down. Well, I think he worked at Western or taught school in Bowling Green or something like that. So he had got to where he had a mailbox that he could slide on and off a little stub, and he would put it out during the day when he went to work. Got home at night, he'd check the
take
mail,
it in.
slide it up off of it, put it on his car hood, and take it back to the house because them boys was knocking it out. Yeah. Well, I don't know if y'all ever been around any chickens or roosters or anything like that, but you can take a tobacco stick and just thump them on the head and knock them out colder than a wedge. Have you ever done that to an old rooster, old chicken, or anything?
No, but
We've done something else to a rooster.
Well, I was going to ask you about
Well,
that. Let him finish
it won't kill them. It just kind of knock them out, addle them. Well, these guys was off for whatever the reason was that day, and a rooster got duct taped to that mailbox. They just knocked it out. Of course, it's limber and asleep. Duct tape his feet to that mailbox. Well, between then and when the guy gets home, it wakes up. And I reckon it was about like Ralph said, they were hiding over in the, maybe not under some trailers, but they were hiding, and it was a fight to get him cut loose from that mailbox. And I think that he just, maybe we got a P.O. box or something.
Well,
a mailbox never showed
mine
back
and Brandon's mutual cousin and myself,
Yeah.
we may have used to love to get out and catch possums.
Yes.
And we may have put that in one of somebody's mailbox one night.
Yeah.
And apparently the next morning when they opened that up, that old thing tried to jump out at them. And I think still to this day that person has problems opening mailbox doors because of that trauma.
Well, hold on. While we're on the subject of mailboxes, I know a guy that his got leaned the other day because of a car in the ditch. And Kyle, he's such a good guy that he'll help get your car out of the ditch. And
he loves you when you do.
And he loves you when they leave. Even if his wife's standing on the porch watching.
Just all around, just a good neighbor.
If any of our listeners want to just randomly tell Kyle that they love him, he'll respond.
He'll tell him back.
Yeah, he loves you too.
Now, my rooster,
and hug you.
Yeah. If you want to
my
hug,
rooster,
just
my
catch
rooster
Kyle out.
story stems from an old rooster that Mom had got. We had a chicken house out behind the old Johnny Cap house there.
Is this the rooster y'all use the M80 on?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard this story all my life, but I thought there's no way it's true.
I've seen it reenacted on the 4th of July.
Really?
I did the reenactment with a big old sparkler about this long, stuck in the back of my pants, run around. I called it the Rooster Run.
The rooster.
But anyway, this rooster would flog you every time you come in the yard out there. I don't know where they got him from, a cockfight or something, used to cockfight or something, and Mom had him in hen house there. And he'd flog the fire of us kids every time we go to get the eggs and stuff or something, or be out there in the yard. He'd come after you, flog the fire out of you.
She said he'd hurt you.
He would, and he cut Mom. Got Mom. Mom come out with a butcher knife, got him right across the neck, but didn't get him good enough. So we decided, since Mom said that one of these days she was going to get that chicken, we decided we're going to take care of that then. Back then you could get M80s. They were pretty strong fireworks. So we decided, all right, we was going to gang up on that rooster. And it was me, I think my Uncle Mike, Steve, I think was the three that done it.
A lot of your stories revolve around you, Mike, and Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all must have been hellions growing up.
Well, Kevin Hayes
Kevin
too,
Hayes
yeah.
too.
But Kevin
They
wasn't
just
in on
put
this
Ralph.
one.
They was the idea, guys. They put Ralph up to it. He
Yeah.
couldn't say that.
No, but we got that rooster down, shoved the M80, you know where, and lit the fuse.
Oh no!
Now all of a sudden, here's this rooster running across the yard, and you see his fuse lit, goes underneath the chicken house, boom! All of a sudden, here's the rooster come running out with a smoke trail behind him.
He lived.
We never saw that rooster the rest of the afternoon. The next morning, we went out there looking for him. We found what was left of him was only from his neck up was left. Something that ate the rest of him.
Well, they probably smelled KFC.
This was done.
Original
But
recipe.
Mom didn't get mad at us for.
She's
stealing that
probably
rooster
glad
over
to get rid of him, wasn't she?
Now I'll tell you this one too. On me, this one's on me. We lived in that old Presley Simon house, the one that's fallen down there on 238. We lived there, and I had some cornbread, and we had turkeys at that time. And I'm sitting out there eating my cornbread, and this turkey come over and knocked me down, took my cornbread. And I got mad. I got up, grabbed the board, and whacked that turkey right in the head, killed it.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
My cornbread, boom.
I was going to say, point, take it.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Ralph's cornbread.
Thank God Thanksgiving was the next day. 'Cause
You know that.
Can you tell about Cluck Norris?
Yeah, I can tell a little bit about Cluck Norris. So I had a rooster.
That's a super rooster that showed up around here.
That's a rooster living in your barn, right?
Yeah, just showed up, and like
You know somebody had that rooster, threw it out. So watch old Brandon fight.
I think it came from.
Oh, really?
No.
I thought that's what you said.
I reckon he was down here to church, and got to he was trying to attack people coming out of church, is what some of it went to church said. And I don't remember how we figured out he ended up here, but anyway, he did. He ended up in my barn. You
He's
know,
got 9 lives.
all the corn you could eat, you know, and so
Y'all call him Cluck Norris?
yeah, he got between me and the buggy one evening while I was feeding, and like he wasn't gonna let me get back to the buggy. And I might or might not have shot at him a couple times, hit him once. And he lived. He lived. That's why I called him Cluck Norris. And so then,
Did you see old Big Brandon try to get to the buggy and a 16-inch chicken and pull his pistol out, shooting the barn all the heck?
So I got a better one than that. So I had that sea farm all over in the barn with cultivators on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't put a good battery in it because you don't use enough. So I just took a battery and jumper cables with me, and I'm going to jump that tractor off and plow the garden. And so I'm over in amongst the cultivators and jumper cables, and the rooster comes for revenge.
Here comes Cluck.
Here comes Cluck. Well, I can't kick him. I'm
you're
in cultivator.
Yeah.
And so, like, he is trying to wear my leg out, and I'm trying to get out where I can get him kicked off my leg.
Was he mad or did he see hearts in his eyes?
I'm not real sure.
Oh, he was bad. I guarantee he waited over the side of that barn and waited till he get up in them cultivators. He's smart. Oh, he's smart, I'm telling you.
Something finally got old Cluck. I think he got run over.
No, well, I didn't know he got killed.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet he's just moved on.
No, he got. No,
I
he
bet
got,
you old Brandon still looks in that barn.
Junior said he seen him in the road. He pitched him over in the ditch by your fence. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's gone.
I
Car
bet
finally
it's a
got him.
decoy.
Jared Childress' papa used to say if he ever jumped out of an airplane, he didn't want a parachute. He wanted a pair of jumper cables. They'd catch on
Or torch
everything.
leads. You talking about Red?
Yeah.
Red one time come over. Of course, he'd come over to shop and loaf with Dad there a little bit and talk to Dad if he was over this way. And we was doing something to a sickle mower one day, and he was over there, and he was talking about having an old sickle mower, and he said he had a bunch of hay he's aimed cut with it, and he thought he'd be real smart. And he said, I took me a grinder, and he said, I sharpened every one of the rock guards down to a keen point. And he said, I'd have been better off to have welded a ball bearing on the end of every one of them. He said, it caught every mouse bed in the field.
I'll tell you. Now I'm gonna go back to my old Army days again on this one here.
All right.
I'd never been in a helicopter before in my life. Okay, I'd been on an airplane, never a helicopter before, and we were doing what they call an air mobile. That was transferring the old Lance missile at that time, doing the air mobile with it. Transferring you could take the launcher part off the vehicle and move it separate. See, and you could fire it straight from the ground, even like that. But anyway, they had me we was on a Chinook helicopter, which had a cargo hole in the floor there where you could see the cargo down below.
Is a Chinook the one that's got 2 rotors?
Yeah.
Okay.
2
Big
rotors.
one. Great big.
Well, my seat just happened to be right by that cargo hole there. We're up about 5,000 feet up, and I'm looking out over watching that missile down there blowing, and all of a sudden I had a corporal on each side grabbed me by the arms. Oh my God, we're gonna crash! And they said I took off running, stretched the seatbelt out that far, and almost went out that hole. And it slammed me back in the seat, and like all the energy was gone out of my body. I'm just laying there. He said, where are you going? I said, you see that river down there? He said, yeah. I said, I was headed for it.
You're going to take your chances on it.
They said, well, you ever heard of auto-rotate down? I said, I'll take my chances. But now, we were going to Crete on a C-130, and they were sitting each side of me again there in a way, and they were talking about, you need to go airborne, this, airborne, that, and everything. And I'm like, I can't see jumping out of a perfectly sound aircraft, watch it fly away, and me pull the ripcord, and not a darn thing comes out. I said, that's a pretty sickening thought about that. He said, you got to reserve shooting. I said, be my luck, that thing wouldn't work either. He said, well, what are you going to do? there's only 5 chutes on the plane here, and there's 125 of us and 5 crew members. I said, well, there'll be 126 dead people, and I'll have a chute. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you see this bayonet? He said, yeah. I said, what do you think the Army gave them to us for?
Be a fight.
He said, you kill me. And I said, you're going to die when you hit the ground anyway. I'm just going to speed up the process. He said, well, what happens if I get out of the plane with a chute before you get? I said, trust me, I'm going to be like James Bond, drive out there without a chute on. I'm going to come down, get that chute off of you, and I'll have a chute.
Ralph French, 0011.
He said, he looked at me, he said, remind me not to sit next to you next time.
So after you retired, you just hanging out now?
That's about it.
Are you not going to tell us any about your karaoke days, Ralph, after post Job Corps?
My karaoke days.
I heard he's karaoke superstar.
I was there at one time, but no longer.
I have 2 CDs
Really?
made by Ralph French.
Oh, that was me and Spike doing that.
I was over at Kevin's office one day. Kevin Alexander, he was loan officer at the bank forever before he became
We
clerk.
made one for Kevin.
Yeah, Ralph makes one for Kevin first. And I'm in there. Kevin says, hey, you got to listen to this. So it's Ralph and Spike and various
Songs
on there. The one that I remember that was on that CD the best, Picture, was very popular at the time. Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Who sung Sheryl Crow?
Ralph. Spike was the Kid Rock part. Ralph was Sheryl Crow. Margaritaville was on there.
Yeah.
Can I tell funny with those Spike and that to be okay?
Well, yeah.
Spike could laugh at us, wouldn't he?
Spike,
Yeah.
yeah, you're good.
Let me say why I said that. Brent Duval was a good friend of ours.
We all
And-
grew up with him.
and
Yeah.
We were in the same grade. He was just a little older than me. And Brent passed away
a couple years ago.
years ago
Yeah.
now, and we miss him greatly. But
Yeah.
he was a ball of fun.
I still got
Anytime
him.
he was around,
I still got a reminder in my phone for his birthday.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'd call him every year on his birthday. And so he was the same grade as me through Rock or through like kindergarten or something, and then they kept him back. For
he
a
was
year and was
born premature. Is that right? Wasn't he really premature when he was born?
think
Had
so.
some health issue
Yeah.
because he was real little. He always was. But he was singing Margaritaville there with Buffett. Of course, Brent, just like any of us, he get his words mixed up and tied around. And instead of stepped on a Pop Top in Brent and Ralph's version, he stepped on a Pop Tart.
We
Blown
would
up
do,
my flip flop, stepped on a Pop Tart. Well, after I heard their CD over there, heard Kevin's CD over there, the next time I run into Ralph, I shamed him. I said, Ralph, I've heard something and my feelings is hurt. What is it? What is it? I said, I was over at Kevin Alexander's and I heard a CD that you and Spike had made for him. Here I've grown up with you my whole life. That's when I was over at the station. And I said, you're going to give Kevin Alexander one before you give me
That's what I was
one.
going to say. Were you hurt you didn't have one?
Yes,
or
I was
you,
hurt.
Or were you hurt that Kevin got it first?
Both.
Really?
So a few weeks
I
go by or
understand.
something like that, Ralph rolls in. He says, I got you one here. So, of course, I'd done listened to Kevin's all the way through a couple times. I'm thinking, you can't top that. But Copperhead Road was on mine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good song.
And you know how Copperhead Road starts out. My name's John J. Pettimore, like my daddy and
Yeah.
his daddy before.
Yeah.
Not in Spike's version. Just hums the first part. Like my daddy and his brand new Ford. So I got one in there. It was good. I think Kevin's got them now. I give mine to Kevin, and he was going to mount them and put them in his office. I don't know if he's done it yet or not.
but I'll tell you something about Halloween, though, in a way. Kevin loves to bring his kids to Halloween. I'll tell you about the first Halloween he brought them to my house.
Bub, you need to get a picture from Kevin to put on your Facebook after Ralph tells this story. Kevin has a great picture of Nolan right
Now-
during this.
Now, I give them their candy and everything. I said, y'all stand out here in the yard. I'm going to carry you good. They didn't know what I was going to do. I had a full It Clown outfit. Nobody had ever seen it. Full pullover mask, everything. And when I come out that door, I was after him. His spur of the sun. Next thing he know, passes the van up, heads out the road, and was halfway to Tom Pullman's house. He's leaving.
Kevin snaps a picture on the way by, and it's Nolan in his, it's like a dragon costume or something like that. You can see Ralph in the background with that mask on. I don't think it was a full costume, was it? Best I remember, you had on like a black tank top or something. It looked like it from Baghdad or something, like a Rambo Id or something.
I had the clown clothes on.
I remembered it being a tank topper. But anyway, you can see him in the background, and Nolan is in full run, and his candy bucket is all the way out like this, and his arms out like this, and it is the worst face you've ever just.
They scattered candy all over the yard. You know, they did. The candy went all over the yard. And now they didn't have the baby yet. They had just him and the second oldest one. And that second oldest one, he got in the van real quick and locked the doors.
Well, that's what I was talking about. Was running was the second oldest one, Nolan. Gavin runs to the van. And to my understanding, which he's a couple years older than Nolan or something like that, jumps in the van but mistimes it and hits his head and likes to break his neck. Like Kevin said, so he just cringed.
Kevin and his wife are both dying laughing. And see, I had Kevin video all these each time we done it. I had a video and I put it on Facebook. This is what happens when you come to my house trick-or-treating. Here I'm coming out the door with that on, and I got a Jason mask even to come out with a big knife swinging. And but his kids, that mom got the laugh. Said, Ralph, they come to your house to get scared and come to my house to get candy.
I remember going to Kyle's, taking my kids to Kyle's house when they were little. We always liked going to Kyle's because he gave out full-size candy bars. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, Heather done that.
When y'all were kids out trick-or-treating, did y'all ever go to Paul and Juanita Loxton's?
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you ever remember the candy dish they had that had the hand, and when you reach in to get the candy, the hand would grab your hand? For some reason, I can remember.
I don't remember that. I would remember it, so maybe I didn't. I mean, I can't imagine we didn't.
Paul he just loved that, you know. And he'd say, "Reach in there, get you some candy," you know. And you'd reach in there, and that hand would fall down on your hand. I remember it scared me the first time. Golly, it scared me.
The first year that I moved up here in the trailer, I didn't expect no trick-or-treaters. You know, I just didn't even think of it. I didn't buy no Halloween candy or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I think I was getting geared up to go find some of my friends and get a Mountain Dew at Minute Mart or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there at the house, and I hear a knock on the door, and I go and answer the door, and Robin Kay has brought Macy and Brandy by when they were little. And I'm like, well, come on in. And they're like, trick or treat. I was like, okay, come on in.
He's like, go out there in the back of the truck, get you a couple of tires.
No, Hey, I load them up. Of course, beanie weenies. Jared had them fruit roll-ups. Jared was diabetic. You know, I give all of Jared's fruit roll-ups, beanies, and everything like that.
Jared's in there low blood sugar, searching through the cabinets.
I mean, I just loaded them down, and then every year after that, they come to the house not wanting candy. They wanted like
beanie weenies,
non-perishable items. Yeah, canned good,
food drive, Kyle's food drive Halloween.
I dressed up one year for Halloween and went and trick-or-treated Uncle Gene a couple nights before Halloween. I had this old woman mask, and I got one of Grandma Luli's old dresses she'd let us have. It's one of them old 70s polyester flowery, and I put a pillow in for my butt and a pillow in for my front. And I go up there and knock on the door, and he comes to the door and opens the door. And he
didn't ask you on a date, did he?
No, he don't know what to do. And I said, trick or treat. He said, it ain't even Halloween. I said, trick or treat. He got mad. He said, looks to me like you're too old to be trick or treat. He went there and got an apple, and I had you remember those plastic pumpkins that just had the plastic?
Loop, yeah. Uh-huh.
He got that apple, and he throwed it down there and broke the handle off of it.
Did he ever figure out
I told him, I know it was you the whole time.
Yeah. I tell you, Sue Lindsay showed up at a Halloween party one time over at Winston and Jean's, and Benny dropped her off before their house in the curve, and she walked in, and she was dressed up as a old, I mean, like a really old woman, and we didn't know who she was the whole night. She wouldn't talk.
Yeah.
And I thought it was James Kerr dressed in drag. I swear, I thought it was James Kerr dressed up like an old woman. Have I showed you this?
Oh, I've seen that. Yes, I have. I've seen that. Hit tap it went off.
It went off. Oh, I was there for that.
That's me.
Oh.
I grew a beard all summer long to go as Amish for Halloween. I shaved off the mustache.
And I just shaved my mustache and showed up and told
and
him
then
I
I
was
let my
his
hair
brother.
grow out so I
What,
could
a big
slick
pot
it.
of chili or something?
It's burgoo. We cook burgoo down there about once.
What's the burger?
Well, that's what I said when I moved down.
So before you tell that though, at this same party, I show up. I've shaved my mustache and got an Amish hat, and my wife's dressed as a sheep.
Yeah. Do you want to tell what my wife dressed as?
Me.
As
Dressed
you?
as you. Did she have the beard?
She had it. Well, I think she colored. Didn't she color her
Yeah, she
face?
had-
And
she colored
She had
her-
overalls on,
That's funny.
and she had a cap on.
She had a cap on that said #1 trucker, and then she had I brought her a mic and a CB home, and she had it. She'd holler on it every now and then.
I text Bub the other day. We was going down the road. Heather had a doctor's appointment, and we stopped in at Pilot down there off of 65.
Are you going to tell this on Heather?
Yes, I am. I'm going to tell us on Heather.
You tell us on your wife?
Yeah. So first of all, she said, needs to use the restroom. Stop in here. So I'm
Hold
on.
on, remember you told some random woman that was hung up in the ditch you loved her. You sure you want
Well, I'm on the phone with
two in 1 week?
I'm on the phone with Bub, and I ain't paying no attention. And get off the interstate, and I just pull to the right, the first little place I see, and it's a kind of not a place that you would think.
Where
would
were
be
you
the-
at?
We weren't. I don't even really know where we were at.
Oh,
we just
you're on
off
65.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember exactly. Like I don't even think we had got to Rivergate yet.
Okay.
Maybe one before Rivergate or something.
That Loves, you was there at the top of the hill. That Loves
Top of rim.
I don't.
Was
I
we
don't
just
know.
like maybe past Portland a few
Yeah,
miles
somewhere. Yeah.
right in
Okay.
there, and pull in there, and I mean it's rough. Look, and I'm telling Bub some big wild story. He's telling me one or something. I ain't paying no attention. I just pull up there, and she said, "I don't know about this or not." And I turn around and look, and there's a brand new Loves over there, like state of the art. I said, "I'll just pull you over there." so I get back out on the road, and I pull over there. And we get done talking with Bub, and I go, and I think maybe I got a coffee or something. And come back out, and I can tell she's rubbing her hands and this and whatnot. And I said, what's the matter? She said, their soap was weird in there. And I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, it was gritty. She said it smelled really strong like cherries. She said, I think it might have been trucker soap. I said, I think you got into the Gojo.
Or a toilet mint. So they made like a mint up
Have you
there.
been, so the Loves, they've got like the little Gojo dispensers just got the foam,
Yeah.
but then they got the big ones that's got the hand cleaner.
Yeah.
The cherry hand
Thumb
cleaner.
is powered.
Yeah.
I said, oh, yeah, that's when you get your hands greasy out here on the fifth wheel or something. You got on the wrong dispenser there. Yeah, but she said, I think it was trucker soap.
Trucker soap.
Trucker, so I might get her some trucker soap.
Well, Lindsay wanted to know where the best windshield washer cleaners were or something, and she called Brandon one day. Do you remember her doing that? Ask who had the best windshield washers,
Yeah.
and we agreed it was Love's.
Yeah.
But that pot I was standing in front of, Ralph, is burgoo. And when I moved down there and she got talking about burgoo, I said, "What is burgoo?"
Yeah.
I had no idea. And she said, "You don't know what burgoo is?" I'm like, "No, because
I mean, they have a festival for it in Owensboro, don't they? Ain't that in Owensboro?
that's barbecue festival they have
I
down
thought
there."
they had a Burgoo festival. Maybe
I don't
it's not
know.
in
What
Owensboro,
is
maybe it's
Burgoo?
I
outside.
think somebody just mispronounced it. You thought they were saying burgoo, and they said barbecue.
Yeah, you were close. So burgoo is basically a vegetable soup, and it's got chicken, pork, like a pork roast and beef roast in it.
Okay.
It's all together, and it's really good. But you
Sounds
just
like it's good.
so we've got this big like witch's pot.
Where does it originate from? Is it Cajun or is it German or is
Nah.
Probably Holland.
I don't know, but so years ago they did it, and it was basically everything you had left over. You threw all your old vegetables in it, and they put possum and chicken and deer and just everything in it. Made a stew basically.
Yeah.
But now we do it. It's basically vegetable soup, and we just put chicken and beef roast in ours. But you've got this pot, and I don't know how big this pot is. It's probably 3 foot across, and it's on a big burner.
Cast iron, I guess.
Yeah, big old cast iron like everybody made flower pots out of over the years out here. And you got like a wood, looks like a boat paddle, and you stand there and you
Just keep
stir
it
it
going.
all day long.
So apparently, Anderson County, Lawrenceburg,
Yeah,
claims to be the burgoo capital of the world.
really. Well, I mean, nobody does that around here, right? I mean, but different. So I've had a few different burgoos up there, different, cookouts and stuff. Everybody makes it a little different. The fire departments have burgoo cooks, and they sell gallon jars of burgoo for fundraisers, and it's a big thing there. But it's good. We cook a big pot. We didn't do it this year, but we usually cook a big pot once a year, and then we freeze it. You freeze it in gallon bags, and lay them out flat, and put them in the freezer. And I mean,
Anything in cast iron over an open flame, though, tastes good.
Oh, man, it's
You ever
good.
had a big chicken soup and where they drop some
Yeah.
dumplings down in it?
Yeah.
yep.
Now, I got one I'll tell on Kyle here. Another story here.
Please do.
They're all on you, Kyle.
That's what I was sitting here thinking. I mean,
Now, this is
he was
back-
running you your whole life.
Yeah, but they're not PG rated,
Yeah, he can't tell any on Jeremy.
This one here takes
and we can't
place.
talk about the other cousin.
Now, this one here takes place when I lived up the old Hollow Road there. My
In the
lawnmower-
Oh,
trailer?
Yeah,
I
in
know.
that trailer. Right. My lawnmower broke down.
Kyle knows that place well.
Yard got a little high there, and him and Keith come by and
Cooter.
take a riding mower and run one strip right down the middle of the yard and leave the rest of it. Oh, why the hell didn't you just do the whole thing? No. I said, I'll get you back for that. For years, I kept threatening Kyle that I was going to come up there to his house and take some 10 fertilizer and put my initials in the middle of his front lawn there.
You should do it now.
Well,
Heather Mose.
this okay, but here,
Yeah, he don't care.
this has been going on for years. I've been telling this. So finally, I broke my foot when I broke my ankle up there on Tom's place. I come in there and work Kyle's. I said, I tried to pull a good one on Kyle on this one. I said, Kyle, no, it was actually when I broke the whole top of my foot there. I said, Kyle, I stopped by while you was gone with your wife and talked to her, and I said, I told her about I was going to put fertilizer, 10 fertilizer on your yard, my initials. And she took a sledgehammer and said, do it after it hit my foot, and said, I'll see you put it on there now. And I said, Kyle, I'm going to have to sue you for this. Your wife hit me in the foot and broke my foot with a sledgehammer. And I thought I had him believing it pretty good. And I said, I'll tell you what, we laughed about it. I said, go home and tell your wife that I'm threatening to sue y'all over her hitting me with a sledgehammer in the foot and breaking my foot. Because I know she wasn't going to know what we was talking about. And I said to Kyle, just do it, get her good. Hell no, Ralph, I want to live.
Yeah, I got to stay there. I'll fess up. I've told Ralph for years that I would never tell him who was on the mower during that time. But it was me and Cooter. I can tell this one, I think. Cooter won't get mad at us for this one, I don't believe. He had said, of course, I don't know. I guess I just do good driving slow things. Maybe I got more patience than everybody else. Kentzer had me drive a CA one time from Brad's to his house in Mohawk. It took me like half a day.
A CA Alice tractor?
Yeah. I mean, how many miles is that?
Well, I mean, where were y'all taking the mower to and from?
Well, it was down at
Charlie's?
the Hamptons.
Okay.
And he said, I want you to pick it up and I want you to drive it back to Charlie's.
Okay.
So we are coming by Ralph's.
Snapper, wasn't it?
Snapper.
Rear engine snapper.
Rear engine snapper.
Was it electric start?
I can't remember that. Maybe. Maybe not.
That one actually had a
Probably
battery.
not if I was guessing.
That actually had a battery.
But I'm on the mower. Cooter's in the vehicle. He pulls up beside of me. He said, go through Uncle Ralph's yard. And it wasn't as much of a straight line as Ralph said. I
remembered
I
it.
made a few figure.
Yeah, it was a zigzag. I
made a few
remember it.
figure eights, went around a couple of times, and then back out on
As I come through, and the rest of the yard's over knee high.
yeah, it's fescue headed out, best I remember.
Yeah, and it had this like path. I thought, what in the world is big going?
And so we get back out on the road and get back up there to Big Charlie's, and we thought it was quite funny. I don't know. Some things you just in the moment it was really funny. So
I mean, that'd be
Ralph,
funny to do to anybody.
Ralph, I was the man. I'm going to come clean here on the
Remember that about
42284
Remember that
podcast.
about the national fertilizers? That back on now.
Heather's getting her hammer ready right now.
I'd heard there was some
Heather's breaking the hammer
I'd
out.
heard there was some guys that really done that to a guy up at Lindsayville. There's a big bank, some of those big banks up there on 259.
Are you talking about the fertilizer?
The fertilizer.
I have wrote something in somebody's yard with fertilizer.
Well, they were going to put his
That wasn't
initials
nice.
in there. His initials were TV. And so everybody up there knew that this guy that lived there, his name was initials TV. So they put a big T and a big V. And it turned off dry and killed it. And I reckon there was people coming down through there. This has been several years ago when you had TV repairmen. Thought that person was advertising. And just random people would stop in and be like, hey, I got a 38-inch Zenith. Is there anything? And this guy was mad. Like, really mad. Of course, all the locals knew who it was and who lived there, but people that didn't was like, hey, I got to, I'm just like, you're advertising.
Do you all remember the old boy? And I don't remember his name. I can see him. Who put the 4x8 sheets of plywood up here on Cedar Grove Church Road about the motorcycle rally?
Yeah, oh yeah.
you remember that?
Where we went up there and you pulled the trailer out for the old boy.
That
Yeah.
was Raymond Whalen's
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law, yeah.
I can't remember.
They
his
had
name.
they had a lawnmower demolition derby up there all the time.
Yeah, that was after that. So what got this started? This old boy, I can't remember his name. He, well, I ain't gonna say anything bad about him, but he went down Harley weekend in Bowling Green, and went down Vendor Alley and told every one of those vendors they were having a motorcycle rally up here on this farm.
What was the sign? What did the sign say?
Kentucky Hills motorcycle rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told them there's gonna be 100,000 people come.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Hey, them vendors, they was about what? I don't know how many of the smaller tents, but they was a couple old boys up there in full-size RVs, semi-tire RVs.
Are you serious?
Who was it? Somebody said Mega Bago. They
Yeah.
was wearing a Mega Bago.
Hey, one of the trailers behind one of them, you could pull a full-size Ford truck in and raise it up into the ceiling, and then this old boy put his stuff under it. They get up on top of that hill,
And it rained.
and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. So Dad calls me at, I don't know, 10 o'clock on a Friday night. Said, how big's your big tractor? I said, it's 105 horse. Why? Can you come up here? I got a guy that's got a little RV stuck.
This is kind of like the house trailer. The
Yeah.
camper. The camper you needed you to move.
Little RV stuck. I need you to come up here and pull it out. I said, I'm not driving my tractor up there tonight, in the middle of the night. I said, but if he's got an RV, you tell him just set up shop, and I'll be up there in the morning. So I got up the next morning, and I thought, I better go up there and check this situation out. I knew where it was, and I knew I'd been seeing that sign out there. I had no idea this guy had been telling that. And so I called Brandon. I said, right up there with me and look at this. And we get up there, and this old boy's got this RV, and it is on the frame out in that field. And it is a monster.
Did any motorcycles show up?
They was probably, 30 people there?
Just
Oh, my Lord. I bet he was not happy at the moment.
I told that old boy, I went and knocked on his door, and he come out. He's an older man, and he was a retired lineman from Texas. And I told him, I said, I'm going to tell you what, buddy, they ain't a tractor in this country big enough to get you out of here. I said, you're going to have to call something bigger than that. So we called Mickey. Mickey brought a wrecker over there. But he had that big old trailer. I told Brandon, I said, I think I can pull that out in my truck. And so we hooked it, 24 or maybe 30
it's
foot.
bigger than 24.
Yeah.
There's ever been a 28 or 30 triaxle. Jeremy hooks her to the white stallion, and he slings mud all over.
You
that
couldn't
trailer.
tell it
He
was
brings
white
her
when I
off
got-
the hill.
Did you get it out?
Oh, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
we
I was
brought her to
gonna
the bottom of the
gonna
hill.
take her off the hill, or I was gonna blow her up on the two. And I took her off the hill. I almost couldn't stop.
So Tim's version of a little camper or a little Winnebago or whatever he just said, a little RV. He calls Jeremy and tells him he's bought a camper and he needs it moved. So tell that story.
Well, he calls me. He said, hey, I need to borrow your truck. And I said, why? He had a truck at the time. He said, I bought a camper over here at the lake. And he said, I need to move it to the hill. And I said, why, why don't you let me help you? Nah, I can do it. Because he didn't want me to see what he'd bought. He would take anything. And so I said, nah, I'm coming over there after work. I'll just check you out. Okay. So I get over there, and it was at the bottom of, what's that road? Goes into Paradise Peninsula, Herman Reynolds?
Reynolds Road.
Yeah, Reynolds Road. When you get to Reynolds Road where it winds and goes back toward that log cabin that Lindsay and I had, it was right there off over the lake.
Reynolds Road is that road, Silas Hunt.
Silas Hunt, yeah.
Comes off the,
I get over there. How long was that thing?
I don't know.
35
It's like
foot.
a 60s model house trailer.
Yeah.
You know how they had the tail lights on them?
Yeah.
And it had the 60s model tires still on it, that with the 60s model air still in the tires.
Yeah. So
I think I moved with him for Wrecker one time.
Well, so he had a little old battery compressor, and we put it on there, and we get all the tires aired up. It wasn't even off the blocks yet. And I told him, I said, just let me hook to this and get it off these blocks. I mean, one end was probably 6 or 8 foot off the ground. I got up there, backed up and got that thing, throw the chain around to the tongue, hooked it to the bumper. I about 4 good swift yanks, and she'd come off in blocks. Yeah.
A whole lot easier than jacking
well,
it up.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, we spent all day over jacking it up. But it had those old windows you crank and they louver out.
Oh, yeah.
And he had them all open, airing her out.
Mm-hmm.
And so once we jank it off the blocks, we get the jack under it, jack it up, put it on the bumper of that truck. And that old white truck of mine, that truck's got almost 300,000 miles on it. And I'm putting the first set of ball joints and stuff in. I actually got them in yesterday. My son said, have you ever greased these? I said, they got grease fittings on
they're
them?
non-serviceable.
Yeah. I'll be dang. But I mean, 300,000 miles. If I took care of that truck, it'd last me forever.
Yeah.
So we get it hooked up to that truck.
If you'd have took care of it, you'd have wrecked it.
Probably. I have wrecked it 3 or 4 times, but totaled twice.
Makes it good.
Yeah, totaled twice. But so we hook it up, and I mean, it sits that bumper on the ground. And I put that truck in low lock, and I come up out of that gravel road. And when I come up through there, it's sliding that trailer off that hill. And I get over against a big old oak tree, and it rakes every one of the louvered windows off side of that tree. So I get it up there in the road. Dad comes up there, and he is livid. You tear everything up you touch. This thing, there wasn't nothing wrong with it. You've been over here 30 minutes, and you done jerked it off the blocks, and you've done broke every window out of one side of it. I said, yeah, but it's ready to go.
So now he's going to flag traffic.
Yeah, he's going to flag traffic.
With his Folgers can.
Yeah, and he has got a little old white
Astro van.
Oh, he had the Astro van.
Astro van.
Yeah, he had an Astro van, and he had a red Folgers coffee can swinging it out the window, flagging traffic. And so you know how that big hill comes up out of Silas Hunt?
Yeah.
I tell him, you need to stay out of my way.
Right.
This thing's going to Sunfish. You need to get out of my way. If you get in my way, I'm going to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stop at the bottom of that hill to let him get onto the top. Well, what's he do? He gets about to the top and he stops. And there's no we didn't have the cell phones wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blowing the horn, motioning him to go on. Nothing. I'm like, well, I told you I was going to hit you. Here you go. And I lay that old truck to the floor, and I mean, we come up out there, and I was probably running 30, 35 time I topped that hill. That camper, glass falling out of it, And he realized that he is still sitting still at that coffee can, and he realizes that I'm fixing to hit him. And it had a little round spare tire on the back of it, his did. He takes off, and right before he got to full speed, bow, I hit him. And that old van, you can see it wiggle around. Boy, he got out of the way then. So I pulled that thing from over there, and
Did you put it up on the ridge, I guess?
well, so we come down through here by Brandon's, and I had never. It had blue refrigerator and sinks and toilets like blue, like Kentucky blue. I've seen aqua blue, but it had Kentucky blue in it. And so about down there by your house, it blows one of the tires out. I hear it, boom. I thought, I ain't stopping now.
Too close down.
Yeah, I ain't stop. I still won't stop with a tire trailer. I showed y'all the other day. I'm going home when the tire trailer blows out. I make that turn down there to Crooked Road, and I hear something. And when I get straightened out, I turn around and look, and it's the refrigerator. And I took that turn so hard, the refrigerator run across the floor and tore the door out. The door to the refrigerator was laying in the road.
The door that used to open in now opens out.
It was a push. Now it's a pull.
Last time I saw him, he was trying to wrestle that refrigerator up in that van by himself. So, by the time I get up there to the hill, that wheel is squared. It's bouncing.
Oh, I'm sure.
And when I went up the hill, remember that trip we took up through there to semi that
yes,
night?
I will.
I was going about that fast. I mean, I hit that hill. I was probably running 40, 45, but up through there I went. That thing is bouncing off trees. I got up there, and I said, "Where you want it at?" He said, "You just unhook it right there."
You went far enough.
And I said,
Tore
"Well,
up.
yeah." I said, "Well, I can pull it wherever." He said, "If you pull it another inch, it won't be nothing left of it."
So Tim sets it up and lives in it for a while.
Yeah, he
Right?
lived
That was
it.
the same one that we moved again.
Yeah.
So I didn't get in on this first moving, but this second moving, Jeremy calls me and he's like, "Hey, I need you to come help me." I said, "Okay." So I get up there and he said, "We're gonna move that."
Dad
trailer."
had died. Dad died at this point.
And so he says, "We're gonna move his trailer. I'm gonna take it down to the end of the road. I've give it to him." Okay.
They wanted
I
to
said,
tear
"What
it down
about
up
the-"
there, and I said, "No,
I said,
it'll be a mess."
What about the porch that he's built onto it?" He said, "Oh, it'll come off."
It won't make it.
So he hooks his tractor to it, and he's up again it with 7,000 Alice, and it spins. So he backs up and jerks, and finally he gets the porch jerked loose from the trailer.
It was on block still.
Yeah.
I didn't even air the tires up.
But the porch was connected
Yeah,
too. Pretty good. Tim had done a pretty good job securing.
Yeah, he was a carpenter.
Him and his
Chainsaw carpenter.
Chainsaw carpentry. So he goes down the hill. I'm in his truck. I'm in the white truck. He's a tractor. He's pulling. He gets down there in the curves.
You're behind me, right?
I'm behind you. He gets down there in the curves, and he drops that trailer off one of them curves down there, and I thought tractor, trailer, and all was going off in the holler. And so he stops, and I walk up there, and he said, "What do you think we ought to do?" And I said, "If you move, the whole deal is going off in the holler."
I finally stopped when the back end of the tractor started walking. That's
Sideways.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
about to drag him off.
It's a
in
100
there.
horse tractor. Of course,
Yeah.
that trailer's so wide you can't see what's going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
So what do we do? We chain his truck off to it, so if it drags it, it's going to drag it all off.
Right. Yeah. No sense of you being left at the top of the hill.
So I pull up the side of it. I hook a chain to the driver's side tow hook, run it over, hook it to the trailer, lock his truck in low lock, and then I cut the wheels hard to left and pull up and tighten the chain up.
Yeah.
And we go together down through there until
right.
we get her back up on the road.
Pulled it up out of that hole, didn't
But
it?
we got it.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it delivered.
Have you seen the thing on YouTube where the truck's going around the mountainside and the guy just steps out of it and goes?
Yeah.
Y'all might ought to think of stuff like that.
Oh,
next time.
I was on the uphill side. I was ready
Yeah,
to.
I can eject pretty quick, can't I, Brandon?
Oh, I've seen him. I've seen the 4-wheeler still be heading up the hill when he got off of it.
Yeah, that house trailer. I could feel that back end of that tractor walking, and I thought, well, what's going on here? So I stop and get out, and that house trailer has got off the side of the road and is laid over, and the frame is head high. Mm-hmm. It's twisted over, going to turn over. And I thought, oh my gosh. I guess if it turned over, I was just going to set it on fire and leave.
We should have just unhooked it right there, and just left it.
Yeah, let Flash worry about it. It's state highway.
It's on the right of way.
Well,
Ralph, you enjoying retirement?
Yeah.
How long? You've been retired, what, 5 or 6 years now?
Well, since 2013.
Oh, man, you've had a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell us about Rex Davis's home run. I think you witnessed that.
Yeah. No, I was there that day, but I didn't. I wasn't outside at the time. But Rex Davis had the home run hit that day in the game. I might have been down the bleachers. I don't remember exactly.
We're talking at baseball at Sunfish School.
At
right?
Sunfish Schoolhouse. He hit that ball. It went all the way across the playgrounds up there in front of the schoolhouse there, crossed the road, out past the outhouses there, and over into Floyd Basham's field.
My goodness.
Which is a long way.
How many
Yeah,
feet
it's a
would you
long
guess
way.
that is?
Nobody ever found that ball.
I don't know, but I mean, from
They
where
looked.
of course, the diamond's been gone for 30 years. I
Right.
remember the diamond as a kid. But from where the diamond sit in the corner of that property facing the JT and Benny barn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so to hit it all, how many acres you got down there?
I think maybe.
We had failed to mention Ralph lives in the old
11
Sunfish
acres,
School.
Something like that, maybe.
So, I mean, that is a haul over there. And I've heard that story before that
But he's the only,
they knocked
he's
it out
the
of the
one that
park.
holds the record for hitting the longest
Ball down there.
home run ever. You know.
And Rex ain't big as a minute.
No.
I mean,
But he was stout as an ox back then.
Oh, I'd
but
say he
He's
still
still-
wouldn't
he's
want to
still
tangle with
tough.
him. But
I remember when I was little, which I never was too little. I was young.
Yeah.
I remember Rex wore that big beard for a long time, and he'd let me grab that beard, and he'd pick me up
yeah,
off the
pick
ground.
you up off the ground. I remember
Did he
that.
ever let you
Yep.
do that?
Yeah.
Oh, son, he's tough. He's tough.
Them old boys was raised like we were working on farms all their life, you know, and everything. That's all they knew, you know.
And that's what's wrong with a lot of kids these days. People won't let them just try something. We put that.
And it's as much our fault as it is their
is.
fault for not letting them fail.
You're right.
Well,
I mean,
because you're scared of what it's going to cost
Yeah,
you to
I
fix
mean-
whatever damage
or,
they do.
or them get hurt or something.
Yeah.
It's, we're all really overcome. We're going to rebuild the front end of that old truck of mine tomorrow. It's one of our projects. I don't plan on doing any of it, to be honest with you. Old Mason sitting out there, he's one going to get under there and do it. He's 14 now, so he's old enough to take some direction.
sure.
So, and that's what I did with Jack. And heck, Jack's putting lift kits under trucks now. He's 18. But that's the only way they learn. Robbie, same way. You had a picture of Robbie welding the other day on Facebook. That's how they learned it. That's how you and I learned it. We didn't learn by watching through a helmet.
Yeah.
Woody showed us just a little bit and said, "Here, try it." You know.
Yeah, and then I was welding a wagon one day, and everything kept going black every time I'd arc up. I'd move. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I'd welding on the old 4-wheel wagon, and I'd get to welding, and everything go black. I'd think, I know, I'd raise my hood up, and I'd move a different position, and I'd go to welding. I'd see the flash, and then, like, golly, why can't I get to where I... And finally, I heard somebody laughing, and Jeremy was standing behind me, and he'd reach around and put his hand in front of the hood every time I'd arc up.
Woody taught us that over there. He I can't remember if it was who it was, but he said, "Watch this." He'd
He
slip in.
finally had to make us quit. We got to turning people's welders up. Them old stick welders. Remember old stick welders? You could crank.
They'd hit an arc in there and it'd just explode.
Yeah, we got to doing it. We got to doing it on some boys when they was doing their test plates.
They got to fill
Lights dim.
They got to filling nylon gloves full of argon over there, tying them up, throwing them in there when they were welding. Of course, that slag had hit it. Bam!
full of acetylene, probably wasn't it?
I said it's argon. I meant acetylene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like when I let it clean the dust out of the shop up there. I told you about that, didn't I? I was cutting them standards off his trailer, and I cut that one, and it fell, and cut the torch hose in two, and cut. It was a big old tall piece of angle, I think.
Yeah.
And it fell and cut the torch hose, but didn't cut it completely in two. Of course, the flame changed. I thought, well, that was odd, and I changed her back. I went to cut it a little more directly. Whoa! And it cleaned the dust out of that shop up there. I mean, it was a boom.
Was it up there at the shop at Shrewsbury?
Yeah,
Kind of like when you cleaned the floor that night.
yeah. I lit the floor on fire trying to get all the oil off of it.
No, he had a major oil spill, and so he's talking about what he's going to do to clean this oil up. I said, well, Dad always uses mineral spirits and a little oil dry, and it'll suck that oil up, you know.
Sure.
But,
Well,
I mean,
the
he had
concrete was rough.
but this concrete was broom finish, and he had a massive oil spill. So he pours what mineral spirits he's got out, and he had about a tenth enough floor dry, and so we end up with this oil mineral spirits soaked floor dry in this oily mineral spirits floor. I said, what are you going to do now? He said, it'll burn. He just throws a match down in it. We had a fire inside the building.
Concrete got to pop.
You couldn't see the trusses. You couldn't see the trusses for the smoke at all.
Got the
How was
oil
it
up,
when
didn't it?
How was it when it?
Yeah,
when
yeah, I guarantee it ain't up there right now.
the oil or the building?
The oil.
The building's there.
Hey, if that building didn't burn down that while I was up there, it never will it? I had several fires around there. So,
He's pretty haphazard at times if you ain't figured it out.
I don't get to play fire at home.
Lindsay won't let him.
No.
Ralph, we sure appreciate
Yeah.
you coming.
I
Ralph,
appreciate
we-
being
we,
in on this one.
Yeah. We appreciate your service, too. I mean,
Yeah,
thank you.
being a veteran,
Thank you, Ralph.
we hope you're taking advantage of all the Veterans Day parades and stuff like that you can get a hold of over there.
I do some
Now,
and everything, but last few years kind of slacked off a little bit.
well, I understand. You're getting to be an old man.
Hey, I ain't that old.
I'm just playing, Ralph. I'm just playing. Yeah, don't get anything after me.
Hey, I'm 66 going on 26.
Oh,
But the main thing to remember here is you got that Duval blood.
I'm only half Duval.
Yeah, but if you're half Duval, you're
It's
still
strong,
going to
though.
live to be
I'm stubborn.
live to be
Oh,
90.
yeah, I'm stubborn as all get up.
You was talking about Tilford a while ago. I remember Miss Benny Well, how old was Benny? She was.
Tilford was. I don't quote me on this, but I think Tilford was 96 or 7.
She's
and
right in there too. With
Benny
it.
was
My
98 or
grandma
9.
was like 98, 99. She wanted to live to be 100, but she missed it by about 2 years, I think.
Yeah, she tuberculosis got her, didn't she?
I don't know.
But she lived down there with John A. and Martha for what, a year or two?
Well, she, on the last day of when they thought the war was over with and everything, they were blowing up all these ammo dumps and everything there, and they blew up the biggest one, and I think that was the one that damaged my hearing in a way, because we were driving through hauling fuel at the time, and we heard this sound, this horn, but we didn't know what it was. Like, what the hell? And kaboom! And I mean, buddy, it was big. But Grandma got confused, and she said, "They're shooting at our boys again, Martha. They're shooting at our boys again. The war's back on."
Yeah.
She lived down there with them. Of course, me and Cooter just basically lived down there.
Yeah.
And so we got really close with. We called her Mamaw Benny. You know, she wasn't my Mamaw. She was my step great grandmother,
Well,
I
she
guess.
was like
but-
a mamaw.
Oh,
too.
Benny was great.
There's been a lot of those people though that had some good long lives in our community though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Mary
I'll
Ellen
tell you
lived to
something
be a
about
pretty good
Grandpa-
age, didn't she?
Grandpa and Grandma.
She wasn't 100, but she's well into her 90s, wasn't she?
Which Mary Ellen and JT were brother and sister.
But
yeah. But
That's the
grandma,
Duvals that I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
right,
See,
yeah.
my grandma Luli was a Duval. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that.
no.
Yeah, and she was 90. I'd have to look.
Duvals,
but 95 -ish.
Duvals, majority of the Duvals that are on our side of the family, the majority of them lived up into their 90s.
Well, I
Well,
don't know about
Lawrence
this.
Lawrence, there's only. Well, him and Bill are the two boys left, but Bill's in his 80s.
In pretty good shape.
And,
baby.
hey,
Uncle Lawrence is in his 90s.
How
and
old's Catherine?
Catherine's in her 90s.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Mary, I saw today that Mary, the other sister that
Yeah,
was still
she
living,
passed
she
away.
passed away today.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What age was she? You know.
I don't know.
She was in her 80s.
Yeah, she was younger. She's probably closer to Bill's age.
Well, she was close to Mom's age.
Yeah.
In a way, so.
Well, you know the ancestry deal that you told about, the family tree deal. I got on there and
Yeah.
got to looking, and then we'd talked. Me and you had talked a little bit about, and you know, looking back through some of that, I've come to the conclusion that if it wasn't for William Loxton trading a barrel of tobacco for Honor Old Flynn, they wouldn't none of us be here. In
That's the
Sunfish.
truth. I've got her in two sides of my family.
I can trace back to her 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, I think it was
She
Aunt
was a
Catherine or somebody
Scottish-
in our family got to
or Irish
doing
prisoner.
that, tracing the roots, our roots back and everything. And they stopped around the 1700s when they found out one of them was a murderer and the other one was a highway robber.
Well,
Yeah. You Duvals.
all right. Thanks everybody for listening.